Good morning everyone, MMDA are back on the road. Right now they're on Otis Street. Actually they were just meant to stop for a moment before moving on, but then they came across a lot of excess passengers on motorcycles, no helmets and things like that. So they're just going to spend a little bit of time here and then move forward. And over here they stopped this gentleman. Unfortunately him and his young passenger aren't wearing helmets. And one more motorcycle over here. Unfortunately an excess passenger plus the young girl on the back isn't wearing a helmet, and one more motorcycle over here, both the driver and passenger without a helmet unfortunately, and they're pulling in one more here, driver without a helmet, and one more motorcycle here, a young girl squeezed between the parents without a helmet. Trying to flag down this motorcycle, excess rider. While everyone on the bike was wearing a helmet, you can't have 3 people on a motorcycle, so they will issue a ticket for the excess rider. And over here one more rider they stopped. He does have a helmet but he wasn't wearing it for some reason, so they'll issue a ticket. If you look at the sidewalk here, you can see the restaurant has installed tables, chairs and a tent. They're removing that now, the sidewalk clearing team, because it's meant to be a sidewalk for people to walk, pedestrians. It's not meant to be an extended area for tables, chairs of the restaurant. And you'll see the team are now deconstructing that tent and they'll be confiscating it. They also confiscated the chairs and the tables because in the past what they found is if they give people a warning, you come back a day later or even an hour later, everything's back on the sidewalk again. So they are confiscating it to make sure the sidewalk stays clear. And over here they stopped 2 more motorcycles. Unfortunately both have young children without helmets. It's extremely dangerous. If they're involved in an accident it could lead to death. So they're writing out the tickets now, and again they'll advise them to find alternative transport for the children. And over here they're writing out a ticket to this motorcycle. You might say, well, they're both wearing their helmets, what's the problem? Unfortunately when they stopped the motorcycle they weren't wearing helmets. This is a problem. Many people have a helmet but instead of wearing it on their head they hold it on their arm. So they do unfortunately have to issue them a ticket. If you see this bike here, it's very nice. Unfortunately the driver can't show a license, so it's being impounded. It's a shame because it's a very nice bike. But once he shows his license, OR, CR, everything like that, and pays the penalty, he will be able to get it back. And one more bike here, you'll see the gentleman on the back, no helmet, but he's holding it. The driver was getting mad with his passenger. He said he didn't know he wasn't wearing his helmet. Unfortunately, 1,500 peso. So the team are now on Arlegui. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but you can see there are vehicles parked on both sides of the road. It's actually no parking both sides, but what you'll see is because they're parked on both sides, it turns this into a 1-lane road. That's why those cars over there are waiting to pass through. So this really contributes to traffic. Sorry about the image quality here. The sunlight is really, it's too low I guess, the sun, and it's blocking the camera sensor. But what you'll see is this jeepney's had to pull to the side to let these vehicles pass through. And you might wonder, why are you walking in the middle of the road? Well, you might have noticed back there that the sidewalks are also blocked. So this woman and a little child are having to walk in the road, same with me. So it's not ideal. Anyway, the team are going through and they're issuing tickets to all of these vehicles. You can see you've got trucks, you've got tricycles, you've got motorcycles, you've got small vans, private cars. Over there's an eatery. So there's really a lot of different types of vehicles for them to ticket. They're still further down the road at the moment. Let's go and say hello to them. So down here you'll find the enforcers issuing tickets. Remember, unattended illegal parking is 2,000 peso. Plus if it's in the road, that's obstruction. So make that 3,000 peso. At least one of the businesses along here does have a permit from MTPB, 100 pesos per day. Of course that's normal in Manila City. If you're willing to pay, you can park on a street that's a no parking zone. Unfortunately I have to go ahead now, so I won't be able to show you them issuing tickets to all of the vehicles, but they are going along one by one issuing tickets. Good morning everyone, the MMDA are back on the road. Actually I'm about an hour late to the party. Right now they're issuing tickets to these jeepneys for obstruction. I think they made like a little terminal here, and further down the road they're issuing tickets to these jeepneys for illegal parking. Basically they park here and then they visit these little eateries and they have their lunch or breakfast or whatever, but the problem is they're parking in the road, obstructing it, so they're issuing tickets and then sending them on their way. If you're wondering about these Pepsi stores you see all along here, are usually on the sidewalk or in parking spaces. You've seen that in previous videos. They asked, who are you paying? They said the barangay, but when you ask, are they issuing receipts, they say no. Before there was just like 4 or 5 of these. Now they're everywhere. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, and that's just in this 6, just in this small area. They're all the way along here, and across the road here they're issuing a ticket to this vehicle for illegal parking. He does have his hazard lights on, but that doesn't change anything. They'll still issue a ticket. It's a red plate also. Of course, it's the driver that will pay the ticket. And this van over here was also issued a ticket for illegal parking. It hasn't moved on. If it's still here in 3 hours, they can issue another ticket again for illegal parking. And down the road they're issuing a ticket to these 2 vehicles that were parked here obstructing the road. And further down the road, one more vehicle, again with the hazards. Sometimes people believe if they put their hazard lights on they won't get a ticket, but it doesn't make a difference. They'll still issue the ticket and then send you on your way. So here you can see sidewalk, pedestrians walking on it, but when you look here, someone's parked their car blocking the whole thing, so they're just issuing a ticket now. That's illegal parking unattended, plus it's obstructing the roads, obstruction. So that is 3,000 peso, quite expensive. As you saw there, when the team approached, a lot of drivers tried to leave, but they've caught up with them, stopped them, and they're going to be issuing tickets now for illegal parking and or obstruction. And the same thing over here, they stopped this white car, tried to drive away as the team approached. Over here is another one that tried to drive away. The team caught up, pulled them over, and they're issuing a ticket now. And more tickets being issued over here. There is parking available inside this building, but it's a little bit expensive. So what a lot of people do is they park out here on the sidewalk. That's why the sidewalk's destroyed, because the cars are always driving up and down it. Obviously it's not a parking area because it's a sidewalk for pedestrians. Also further down the road is a paid car park, which is much cheaper. So if you wanted, you could park there and then walk here, and you'd save yourself a lot of money. So those vehicles that have a driver, that's a ticket for obstruction 1,000, and illegal parking 1,000, and disregarding traffic sign 150. For those vehicles that don't have a driver, it's 2,000 for illegal parking, plus 1,000 obstruction, plus 150 disregarding traffic sign. And over here you can see a bunch more vehicles that are also being issued tickets, and over here a bunch more, and over here some more tickets being issued. This one's obviously attended, this one's unattended, so 3,150, 2,150. So for those vehicles that are unattended, the ticket is left on the windscreen, and if the vehicle's not moved within 3 hours, it will be issued another ticket. This is probably one of the largest vehicles parked here, fully obstructing what should be the sidewalk, partially obstructing the road. Again, there's a ticket on the windshield, and if it's not moved within 3 hours, another ticket. 3,150 peso. And one of those vehicles that was ticketed has now driven across the road, and he's going into the paid parking. If he'd have done that earlier, he would have saved himself a lot of money. Again, over here you can see road, sidewalk, and then a vehicle parked on the sidewalk. So they're just issuing a ticket now, and then they'll send him on his way. Over here they're looking at this vehicle. It does have a diplomatic plate, but it's parked right next to the sign that says no parking, tow away zone. So they're asking now to see the license so they can issue a ticket. And there you go, they have the license, they'll issue the ticket. And over here they're issuing one more ticket, again parked right next to the sign that says no parking, tow away zone. So issue the ticket, send them on their way. Obstruction, illegal parking attended, disregarding traffic sign, 2,150 peso. And further down the road there's this restaurant. You might have remembered this from the previous video. The lady said she's paying the barangay captain to operate here because this is actually government property. This is not private property. Last time they issued a ticket for obstructing the sidewalk with a business. I guess it might be a second ticket today.